It's agreed to summon the warcraft. How did the Navy, Land, and Air Force come? Introduction. www.zhaoshuyuan.com. I am a professional in Warcraft, so it's reasonable for me to summon the J.20 fighter jet. Of course, I prefer what you call my second profession, the first disaster. Since I have the J.20 fighter jet, what aircraft carriers, nuclear-powered submarines, and spacecraft are normal? That's just a planetary destroyer. Don't be surprised. https://www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Who is the summoner of a good person in Chapter 1? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. A few days ago, the Zhang family in Liaonan province publicly stated that their ancestors had already stepped into the spiritual realm and invited heroes to join the Zhang family. Su Baogua, the person in charge of Liaonan Security Responsibility Company, Limited, welcomes all spirits to join, with priority given to sword cultivation and spiritual cultivation majors, while auxiliary majors such as animal husbandry will be considered at their discretion. Chairman Huang of the Liaonan Spiritual Association issued a statement, claiming that there has been a significant breakthrough. According to his description, he has found a solid spiritual alcohol that can increase the cultivation speed of spiritual beings by dozens of times. The head of Tianhai City has publicly announced that the annual Spiritual Cultivation Academy has completed its enrollment, and a total of. I have traveled to this crazy world. Su Chen lowered his head and sighed helplessly. 3 days ago, Su Chen was still a patient waiting for treatment on Earth. After being pushed into the operating table, he opened his eyes again. Su Chen noticed that the scene before him was different. This world is no different from the previous Earth, the only difference is that it has a larger volume and more prosperous military power. Thousands of years ago, games came to reality, and everything about Blue Star began to be digitized, and the spiritual energy between heaven and earth also became digitized. Everyone can come into contact with spiritual energy for cultivation, and then resist the thousands of races that rush out from the cracks of time and space, competing with humans for living space and various resources. After nearly 1,000 years of turmoil and reconstruction, humanity has gradually explored the path of the Spirit One. I just became a spiritual being and came from the town below. Yesterday, I just passed the assessment at the Tianhai Spirit Academy. Su Chen lowered his head and pondered for a moment. According to Su Chen's current understanding, the division of strength is Spirit Master, Spirit General, Spirit King, Spirit Lord, Spirit Emperor, Spirit Zun. As for whether there is anything higher up, it is not what he knows. But my treatment is really. Even a cultivation academy can only meet the minimum requirements. In the end, it was the mentor who pitted me that allowed me to enter the Beast Protection Major, which had only a few people in the entire profession. They said that the Beast Protection Major did not place so much emphasis on spiritual affinity. Su Chen frowned, constantly pondering the scene he had just encountered at Tianhai Academy. The next moment. Did I walk the wrong way? With a loud bang on his chest, Su Chen bumped into a thick wall. He looked up and looked at the wall in front of him, as well as the gloomy alleys around him. Su Chen was stunned for a moment. How could I walk and end up in a dead end? With a deep curse, Su Chen was about to turn his head. Hey, isn't this Su Chen? Why are you here? A very clear and pleasant voice sounded behind Su Chen. Upon hearing this sound, Su Chen was momentarily stunned and then turned his head. Shen Yi. Looking at a woman with long hair walking towards him in front of him, Su Chen spoke curiously. I remember the place you rented was not. Su Chen raised his finger and pointed in the opposite direction, with a hint of suspicion on his face. Shen Yi, who was originally from the same place as Su Chen, was also admitted to Tianhai College. However, unlike Su Chen, she majored in spiritual cultivation. Didn't I just come out to relax and coincidentally meet you? Shen Yi spoke with a smile on her face. But it's a coincidence that I met you in this place. Speaking of which, Su Chen, don't lose heart. If you can't do it at first, it doesn't mean you can never do it. As she spoke, Shen Yi walked briskly towards Su Chen. In the end, Shen Yi stood in front of Su Chen, widened her watery eyes, and looked straight at Su Chen. This. Facing Shen Yi's piercing gaze, Su Chen felt slightly uncomfortable. That gaze seemed to be devouring him. And it was also in this dark alley. After hesitating for a moment, Su Chen was about to organize his wording to answer. Humph. A very slight cold snort sounded. Although the sound was small, it stood out so prominently in this dark and quiet alley. The next moment, Su Chen closed his mouth and looked behind Shen Yi, a man with earrings on his ears and dressed in colorful clothes. Who is this? Looking at the man's hostile gaze, Su Chen felt a bit puzzled and turned to look at Shen Yi, speaking in confusion. Upon hearing this, Shen Yi was stunned for a moment, then turned her head and glanced at the man. Ah, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself to you. This is my boyfriend I just made today. He can be considered our senior, but he specializes in swordsmanship. Shen Yi smiled awkwardly and spoke up. Upon hearing this, Su Chen narrowed his eyes for a moment. Well, that's understandable, but isn't this guy named Wang Yuan too thoughtful? Isn't this just a brief conversation? Think of it here. Su Chen pursed his lips and was about to shift his gaze away from Wang Yuan. Just turned my head. Detected the presence of energy cores in the mechanical family, and the host meets the requirements, the system begins to activate. 33%. 99%, host. Su Chen, Realm Strength. First Level Spirit, LV1, the spiritual power required to upgrade to LV2 is 0/100 Constitution. 14, 1 point Constitution equals 10 health points, Wisdom. 4, 1 Wisdom equals 1 attack, Endurance. 4, 1 point of Endurance equals 1 point of Defense, Agility. 8, 1 Agility equals 1 m/s Speed, currently available for summoning. J.20 Fighter Jet, Beginner, Proficiency Level 0/5000, Note. When the J.20 Fighter Jet kills a single target, it will provide the host with varying spiritual power values. Each time the J.20 Fighter Jet is used, the proficiency will be correspondingly increased. When the proficiency is full, it will progress to the next form. Looking at the sudden appearance of the data panel in front of Su Chen, he was stunned for a moment. Is this his golden finger? But what the hell is the J.20 Fighter Jet? Whose kind person summoning object is this? They are either undead or exotic beasts. What kind of summoning object are they? But soon, the next second, Su Chen came back to his senses from his confusion. The mechanical family. Alien race. Following closely behind, in Su Chen's gaze. Zhaozuiyuan.com Wang Yuan, Realm Strength. 6th Level Spirit, LV6, Physical Fitness. 23 Wisdom. 24 Endurance. 29 Agility. 20, Note. A young master from the Edge tribe of the mechanical clan, lurking into human society, looking at the data panel above the man's head, Su Chen's pupils instantly tightened. Is it really this one? Did the mechanical clan disguise themselves? What did High Academy do to eat that day? How to let an alien lurk into human society? Just thought of this. Why does this little brother keep looking at me with that kind of gaze? Do you have any objections to me? Wang Yuan raised his eyebrows, looked at Su Chen's gaze, and spoke with a smile on his face. Upon hearing these words, Su Chen suddenly became agitated. At the next moment, Su Chen looked warily at Wang Yuan and moved his steps towards the outside of the alley. Other things, Su Chen didn't want to worry, but Su Chen traveled through these days and saw many cases of cannibalism and murder among thousands of ethnic groups through various channels. For the sake of living space and resources, Wanzu is constantly trying to find ways to drive humans out of the blue star. Hurry up. Just as Su Chen took Shen Yi's hand and took a few steps aside. It seems that this little brother has a secret about him. Wang Yuan looked at Su Chen and sneered. Immediately, accompanied by a click. Click, the sound of bone displacement sounded, and the flesh and blood on Wang Yuan's face began to fall off one by one. Breathing time. Shit. The strong gust of wind swept away, and standing in front of Su Chen was already a mechanical creature wrapped in various parts all over its body. Chapter 2. Just out of the tiger's den and into the wolf's denver. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, seeing this scene. And as Wang Yuan's breath spread, the trembling aura enveloped Su Chen's entire body. Ah! Shen Yi next to Su Chen shouted loudly, her trembling voice filled with fear. How could there be a different race? Shen Yi's body trembled wildly, trembling as she spoke. Upon hearing these words, Su Chen's suppressed heart fell silent for a moment as she met the gaze of Shen Yi. He also wants to know why this alien race appeared. What does it mean that Tianhai Academy didn't notice it for so long, and Su Chen noticed it as soon as it appeared? Why aren't you talking, kid? Looking at Su Chen's silent expression, Wang Yuan sneered. Immediately. Just now, I wanted you to die ignorant. Since you insist on becoming a smart person, then let you die in pain. When Wang Yuan's facial muscles began to spasm uncontrollably, black smoke emanated from all over his body. Immediately after, Wang Yuan opened his bloody mouth, his voice sharp and piercing, and fiercely charged towards Su Chen. Shit! Almost just breathing. Wang Yuan's figure immediately crossed a few meters and appeared in front of Su Chen, with a hint of cruel laughter in his crimson eyes. How fast? Su Chen's heart tightened. In the previous second, he also felt a powerful aura rushing towards him, as if a fierce beast had instantly locked him down, making him unable to move. When his heart was still in shock, the next second, Wang Yuan had already rushed towards him. Kid, die for me. Looking at Su Chen's suddenly tightening pupils, Wang Yuan grinned and spoke. After speaking, he lifted his right hand and slapped it hard on his chest. Bang! Su Chen felt a shock in his chest, and a huge force instantly spread throughout his body. Puzzy. My throat was sweet, and I spit out a big mouthful of blood. Immediately after, Su Chen's body flew out and fiercely collided with the wall behind him. The speed and strength of this root that was originally not responsive. Damn it! He spat out a mouthful of blood again, and Su Chen covered his chest, looking at Wang Yuan slowly walking towards him with a disheveled expression. No, there's a huge gap in strength. One level 6 spirit person and one level 1 spirit person. Glancing at Shen Yi, who stood motionless like a wooden figure, she turned her head to look at Wang Yuan, who had a mocking expression on his face. Although I really don't know what kind of ghost it is. At the moment, I can only take a gamble. Su Chen gritted his teeth. The next moment, accompanied by a movement of Su Chen's mind. Whoosh! Suddenly, a powerful wave of air spread like ripples between the two. This is. The footsteps stopped, and Wang Yuan's originally playful expression instantly froze. In this stormy atmosphere, he actually felt so much terrifying energy. The next moment. A silver-white mini-fighter jet filled with the beauty of assembly lines appeared in Su Chen's eyes. Even Su Chen vaguely felt that the fighter jet seemed to have surpassed the realm of pure mechanics. On the fighter jet, Su Chen could feel a boiling explosive force even more. J.20 Fighter, Jr., made of high-strength alloy combined with spiritual power, it has strong destructive power, attack power. 37 defense. 39 speed. 41, how could this be possible? Isn't he just a spiritual one? What the hell is this? Unlike Su Chen, Wang Yuan's face turned pale as he looked at the fighter jet in front of him. With both fists tightly clenched, a towering wave kept rising in my heart. What the hell is going on here? The shock and fear in Wang Yuan's heart can no longer be described in words. He read in ancient books and knew that this was a technological weapon used by humans on the Blue Star in ancient times. But now that spiritual energy has been revived for thousands of years, how can we once again see this kind of thing swept into the river of history? Cough. Just as Wang Yuan's heart was filled with shock, Su Chen stumbled and stood up from the ground. Looking at Wang Yuan, Su Chen's gaze flashed with a hint of coldness. The next moment. Shit. As Su Chen's thoughts moved, the J.20 instantly plunged towards Wang Yuan. Buzz. A powerful wave exploded beside Wang Yuan. At this moment, Wang Yuan only felt an unprecedented fear. He instinctively wanted to escape. But just as he made some moves, the silver-white fighter jet had already arrived in front of him. No. A frightened cry rang out, and Wang Yuan instinctively raised his hands. Bang! But the next moment, the silver-white fighter jet had already collided with him. Puff! The powerful impact made Wang Yuan spew out a mouthful of blood. The whole person flew backwards and hit the wall fiercely. You! Looking at Su Chen, Wang Yuan struggled to stand up, but his body seemed to be drained of strength and he couldn't even stand steadily. How could it be? I am a level 6 spirit master, and I am also a member of the mechanical clan, known for my exceptional defense. Su Chen is only a level 1 spirit. Even if Su Chen's summoning object is eerie, it is impossible. What the hell are you? Looking at Su Chen standing in the distance with an indifferent expression, Wang Yuan trembled as he prepared to say something. The next moment. Shoo! A piercing laser suddenly shot out from the muzzle of the fighter jet. In an instant, the temperature in the entire alley suddenly rose. Even the air became scorching hot. I just heard the sound of tearing open the air. Shit! The laser has already penetrated Wang Yuan's chest. The powerful destructive power instantly tore apart the defense on Wang Yuan's body. Next up. Bang! A deafening explosion sounded. The powerful impact instantly overwhelmed Wang Yuan's entire body. Accompanied by the explosion, countless fragments and flesh were blown away, forming a mist of blood in the air. Host kills Wang Yuan. Spirit value plus 200. The host's spiritual power has reached its limit, and the host's realm strength has been improved at the book garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com. The data panel has just appeared in front of Su Chen. Buzz. In Su Chen's gaze, waves of spiritual power surged towards him like flowing water. A few short breaths. Host. Su Chen, realm strength. Second level spirit, LV2, physical fitness. 16 wisdom. 6 endurance. 6 agility. 10. The spiritual power required to upgrade to LV3 is 100 out of 300 currently available for summoning. J.20 Fighter Jet, beginner, proficiency level 1/5000, this is the attribute of a second level spiritual being. All attributes have increased by 2 points each. As the spiritual power dissipated, Su Chen looked at his data panel and sighed for a moment. The next moment. Brother Su Chen, are you okay? Shen Yi regained her composure and looked at Su Chen with a worried expression on her face. She thought about countless possibilities, but only did not expect such a result. I'm fine. Su Chen gently shook his head and then turned to look at Shen Yi. Just about to comfort and say something. Next second. Shen Yi, realm strength. 7th level spirit, LV7, physical fitness. 28 wisdom. 26 endurance. 25 agility. 30, note. Descendants of the demon race, who met Wang Yuan, sneaked into human society with Wang Yuan's help through an unexpected coincidence some time ago. Chapter 3 Reveals Incomplete Modules. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Looking at the data panel on Shen Yi's head, Su Chen's pupils instantly tightened. He never expected that Shen Yi was also of a different race. According to what I didn't see just now, I can only see the detailed information of Wang Yuan. What I can see is no more than 5 levels. Interestingly, I thought Shen Yi was being deceived, but I didn't expect it to be a group, just as Su Chen was desperately thinking in his heart. Brother Su Chen, are you really okay? It was so scary just now, I thought. Shen Yi's voice trembled slightly. His eyes were filled with a worried and anxious expression. If Su Chen didn't know Shen Yi's true identity, he might be a bit moved to see her like this. But now, Su Chen's heart is full of slander. Brother Su Chen, what's wrong with you? Seeing that Su Chen remained silent, Shen Yi spoke curiously. But Brother Su Chen, why are you so powerful? I couldn't see it before. Brother Su Chen, have you been hiding your strength before? As she walked towards Su Chen, Shen Yi blinked her big eyes and looked at him. I really hate it. Brother Su Chen, if you have this strength, you could have said it earlier. The next moment, a blushing blush appeared on Shen Yi's face. I never imagined that one day I would be saved by you, Brother Su Chen. I really don't know if it was fate or if we were destined to have this fate. Brother Su Chen, I know you're interested in me. I was young at the time and had a proud heart. How about? With her gaze fixed on Su Chen, Shen Yijiao spoke slowly. The words fell, and Su Chen was choked for a moment. Not to mention whether it's really interesting, but that's also the original. What's the relationship with me, Su Chen? This. After some thought, Su Chen still squeezed a smile on his face and spoke perfunctorily. First there is a mechanical tribe, then there is a demon tribe. I don't think I'm surrounded by myself. I don't think there are hidden alien tribes in the dark. By the way, now that this alien race has been killed, should we first contact the person from the Public Security Bureau to come over? While speaking casually and dealing with Shen Yi, Su Chen cautiously looked around the corners. But to Su Chen's surprise, under his gaze, there was no data information from other races. Is there no other alien race, or is it that my strength is not enough? I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. If it weren't for the other races, Shen Yi wouldn't be his match. But Su Chen, who was naturally cautious, still held a hint of caution in his heart. Since your boyfriend was able to be unknowingly devoured and taken away by a foreign god, that shouldn't be an exception. Is it possible for someone from the Public Security Department to explain this to you later? Thinking about it, Su Chen squinted his eyes and looked at Shen Yi in front of him, speaking word by word. Upon hearing these words, Shen Yi was stunned. It seems that Su Chen didn't expect to say this now. The next moment, Shen Yi grumbled her lips in frustration. Brother Su Chen, that's what I said, but seeing an alien statue with my own eyes still scared me. Can we let them slow down first? Shen Yi looked straight at Su Chen. After speaking, Shen Yi glanced around at the dark and empty alleys. Looking at Shen Yi in front of her, Su Chen felt a bit strange. When will other races also use this beauty trick? Shouldn't it just be a simple mind with well-developed limbs? But looking at it from a different perspective. Does Shen Yi's way of talking to herself mean that there are no other races? Just as Su Chen's mind was rapidly changing. Brother Su Chen, I'm really scared. Can you comfort them? Even for a moment. Shen Yi let out a faint sigh and then grabbed Su Chen's right arm. And as Shen Yi's head hung low, about to lean against Su Chen's arm. Shit! A pair of sharp fangs grew out of Shen Yi's mouth. When a hint of redness flashed through her eyes, Shen Yi was about to bite directly. The next moment. Bang! A powerful wave of air dispersed like ripples. Then, in Changge's eyes, from a moment of shock to fear. The silver-white fighter jet that had previously killed Wang Yuan suddenly appeared on the field. Although there was a distance between the two, under the majestic momentum, Changge instantly felt locked in by the big culprit and unable to move. Brother Su Chen, this is. Changge's pupils reflected a silver-white fighter jet, and her eyes were filled with fear. What do you think? Facing Changge's gaze towards her, Su Chen spoke with a smile on her face. Upon hearing these words, Changge's gaze shifted for a moment. How could you? Squeezing her lips, Changge spoke with an incredulous expression on her face. But the next second. Shit! With the sound of breaking through the air, the silver-white fighter jet instantly plunged towards Changge. No. Looking at the fighter jet gradually expanding in her pupils, Changge looked horrified. Just now, Changge was very clear on how Wang Yuan was killed. Even the King Yuan of the 6th level Spirit Master cannot sustain it for a moment, and what about myself? This idea has just emerged. Bang! In the midst of a earth-shattering explosion, the silver-white fighter jet instantly collided with Changge. And the next moment, a figure flew out of the thick smoke of the explosion and fell hard to the ground. It's Changge. However, at this moment, Changge's clothes were all in tattered condition, her body was also scorched black, and she was on the brink of death. Brother Su Chen, why are you treating me like this? Changge lay on the ground, her eyes filled with fear. Upon hearing this, Su Chen frowned as he looked at Changge at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. So far, are you still pretending? Shaking his head, Su Chen let out a slight sigh. Next second. Buzz. An incredibly hot breath came, and in Changge's trembling gaze, a laser condensed from the top of the fighter jet. As soon as the laser filled with the aura of death appeared, Changge's heart was instantly gripped by a big hand. Not even half a breath. Shit. The laser traced a beautiful arc in the night sky and shot straight towards Changge. No, no. Feeling the threat of death brought by the laser, Changge's body instantly tensed and she wanted to struggle and escape at any cost. But in the next moment, a huge suction came from the laser, instantly restraining Changge and unable to move. Brother Su Chen, help me. Watching the laser filled with the aura of death, Changge spoke in terror. But in response to her, there was only the laser passing through the night sky. Shoo! In a piercing sound, the laser instantly penetrated Changge's body. And the next moment. Bang! With a muffled sound, Changge's body instantly exploded into a mist of blood. With a strong smell of blood permeating the surrounding air. Host kills Changge. Spirit point plus 180. Host additionally obtains incomplete module. Disguise, incomplete. 3 incomplete modules are combined to form a complete module. After completion, the J.20 fighter jet will add additional skills that can hide its own body. Creatures with no higher than a certain strength will not be able to detect, can be upgraded. Chapter 4. Low affinity for spiritual power, where is the full attribute enhancement from? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, looking at the fragments falling on the ground like small blocks, Su Chen raised his eyebrows. Module. Incomplete module. Muttering, Su Chen was about to walk over and pick up the fragments. But it's so strange. When was Changge taken away by Wanzhou? And why did she come to me? Picking up the fragments and putting them into his pocket, Su Chen curiously glanced in the direction of the alley exit. Coincidentally. I remember my original self was also an orphan, right? Is it really just a coincidence? After pondering for a while, Su Chen's furrowed brow relaxed. But this golden finger needs to go back and figure it out. The incomplete module. After muttering, Su Chen shook his head and then walked towards the exit of the alley. Just as he walked out of the alley, Su Chen chose a direction and took a step. The steps have just been taken. Boo! Behind Su Chen, where Shen-Yi had originally died, the void suddenly shook. However, the movement is very quiet and the sound is very light. And there was an inexplicable force emanating, seemingly enveloping the place where Shen-Yi died, isolating everything from the sound. Su Chen, who was all focused on his golden finger, didn't notice this as he turned his back and walked away. As the sun rises the next day, it shines in every corner of Tianhai city. Thousands of years ago, the exact time is unknown. The spiritual energy of various parts of the blue star skyrocketed, and then all the data on the blue star became available. Just as everyone on the blue star felt confused and panicked due to this change, time and space cracks appeared everywhere on the blue star. Subsequently, various exotic demons emerged from the cracks. Cities are being destroyed one by one, and land is falling everywhere. That day is called Disaster Day. Faced with the aggression of thousands of ethnic groups, various power organizations on the blue star have united unprecedentedly, and various reclusive characters have also emerged. Through the exploration of many predecessors, we humans have mastered the path of spiritual power cultivation. We can absorb, purify, and refine our own spiritual power, constantly strengthening ourselves. We can also transform our spiritual power into our own by killing and plundering the spiritual power within the alien body. If our spiritual power is sufficient, we will reach a new stage of strength. After thousands of years of turmoil, humanity and all races have formed a delicate balance, and order has begun to be re-established. For the sake of future generations, many ancestors have made various different cultivation theories public. Later, some ancestors mixed these theories together, and then other ancestors divided them. According to different people's affinity for spiritual power and body bias, many professions have been divided. For example, sword cultivation majors with slightly higher affinity for spiritual power and higher compatibility with long swords have been subdivided into spear cultivation, physical cultivation, hammer cultivation. Spiritual cultivation majors with outstanding affinity for spiritual power have been subdivided into mages, wizards, array mages. For those with low affinity for spiritual power, auxiliary majors are generally recommended, and more appropriate subdivisions are made based on their four-dimensional attributes. Of course, there are also some side sects, such as the corpse-driving profession, Gudu profession. Although they are niche and require special physical fitness, they also have good effects on dealing with thousands of tribes. In a very spacious room, a middle-aged man with a beard stood on the front high platform, speaking confidently. Below the bearded man, Su Chen yawned with a bored expression on his face. Thunder, Realm Strength. Level 1 Spirit General, LV-21, Physical Fitness. 149 Wisdom. 146 Endurance. 135 Agility. 130, at that time, the mentor said it was unpopular, so I was mentally prepared, but I didn't expect it to be so unpopular. Su Chen glanced at the middle-aged man and then scanned the empty room. Looking at the only two people in the room, he and his mentor, I was a bit skeptical. Where is this unpopular? It's simply a profession that has been passed down from generation to generation, what are you thinking? Lei Ming saw Su Chen yawning and paid no attention to himself, squinting his eyes. After speaking, Lei Ming raised his right hand and clicked on the virtual computer at his arm. Our major in animal husbandry is now declining, but we are different from other majors. More than 2,000 years ago, there was a great figure in our beast control major, who was a superpower who could form a single army. In his era, beast control was a coveted profession for everyone. As the virtual computer projected images one after another, Lei Ming spoke seriously. But the big shot disappeared later, and some even said he was dead. At the next moment, Lei Ming sighed. Afterwards, many people on the Blue Star who were related to the beast control profession were found by Wan clan and slaughtered. In a state of panic, the beast control profession gradually declined and no one wanted to go. In addition, people have discovered that beast guards are specialized in summoning beasts, and their combat power is basically on their own summoning beasts. Beast guards themselves can be described as powerless and easily treated as weak points. Moreover, for most beast guards, every time they reach a higher level, the number of summoning beasts they can control increases by 1. Relying solely on force, they cannot even compare to a single strand of the talisman profession. Glancing at Su Chen, Lei Ming spoke lightly. Upon hearing these words, Su Chen pouted. No wonder when the mentor said he could enter the beast control major, the people around him looked sympathetic at that time. Su Chen didn't pay much attention to it. Now, thinking about it, it may be that his original spiritual affinity was extremely low, but coming from afar to Tianhai Academy, it seems not good to just go back like this. At this time, there is a shortage of people in the beast control major, so is the original body so poor? I really can't feel any spiritual power. How did the original body cultivate into a spiritual one? Su Chen is a bit skeptical. Did God make a joke with him while he was traveling, but gave him a golden finger? What kind of ghost is that? Does this mean closing the door but opening another window? But mentor, it seems like what you're saying is not right. The combat power of the Beast Master lies entirely in summoning beasts. Does the Beast Master himself have no combat power? After advancing to the next stage, isn't it true that all attributes of zhaoshuyuan.com will increase? Thinking and catching a little bit, Su Chen suddenly lifted his head. Yes, but only those with low affinity for spiritual power would choose to specialize in animal husbandry. For most people, attributing great power to oneself is the most reliable. And your spiritual affinity is not high anymore, so you have upgraded from a first-level spiritual being to a second-level spiritual being. When spiritual power rushes towards you, but you cannot absorb it, how will your all attributes increase? Upon hearing Su Chen's inquiry, Lei Ming was stunned for a moment and then nodded. At the end, Lei Ming touched his chin and looked at Su Chen with a somewhat amused expression. At this moment, Su Chen's pupils had already contracted into needles. What Lei Ming said is very simple. You can't even get close to water, how can you absorb water and store it in your body? But when Su Chen himself rose to level 2 as a spiritual being, his full attributes did indeed increase. So is the reason why the spiritual cultivation profession and sword cultivation profession are strong. When their realm was elevated to that of a spiritual master, didn't they increase their full attributes by 20 points? Although there were turbulent waves in Su Chen's heart, there was no expression on his face. Instead, he looked curiously at Lei Ming. How could it be possible? However, to Su Chen's surprise, Lei Ming sneered. How could it be so outrageous? Generally speaking, for those who embark on the path of spiritual beings, for every small level they elevate, their full attributes range from plus 0.3 to plus 1. When I was a spiritual master, my body was able to increase by 10 points in all aspects compared to when I first entered the spiritual realm, making me a rare genius in 100 years. Lei Ming spoke with great amusement. Chapter 5. Tianhai City, Gu Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, however, when Lei Ming said these words, he found them very funny, and in the end, Lei Ming shook his head. But he completely ignored Su Chen's increasingly tight pupils. What the hell? Not only do I increase my attributes, but I also increase my attributes by 2 points. Su Chen's mind is a bit confused. What kind of beast tamer are you? After calculation, when I arrived at the spiritual master, it was no surprise that my 4-dimensional attributes were guaranteed to be 20 points more than when I was at the first-level spiritual master. So what would I be? Single-handed crushing of a physical trainer. By the way, after telling you so much, I haven't asked what your Imperial Beast is yet. By the way, I remember yesterday when Professor Wang brought you into the Beast Control Major, he gave you a Beast Control Stone, right? Lei Ming tilted his head curiously and looked at Su Chen. The Imperial Beast Stone is designed to cut open cracks in space. Even ordinary people with low spiritual affinity can use the Imperial Beast Stone to communicate with suitable summoning beasts and sign contracts. This. Su Chen was stunned and a bit embarrassed. Summoning beasts are either creatures like slime wind vultures, or angels, demons, titans, or special features like wind, fire, or elves. What is your summoning beast? J.20 Fighter Jet. Which serious beast tamer is guarding this beast? And I also learned yesterday that fighter jets are not uncommon in human history, but with the development of spiritual energy and the improvement of military strength, this kind of scrap metal has long been eliminated. What's wrong? Sorry to say so. Looking at Su Chen's embarrassed expression, Lei Ming was taken aback. Immediately, without knowing what was on his mind, Lei Ming smiled at Su Chen with a, "I understand," smile. It doesn't matter, but since you have a beast to guard, you can still be considered an official spirit master. Do you want to go find a secret realm to hone it first? Just finished learning systematic theories and personally practicing them may bring unexpected gains. At the next moment, Lei Ming turned off his virtual computer and looked at Su Chen with confusion. Upon hearing the thunderous words, Su Chen was taken aback. A few hours later. A few kilometers east of Tianhai Training Academy, in front of a cave. This is the secret realm. Su Chen looked at the dim cave in front of him, as well as the shimmering teleportation array on both sides of the cave, and spoke thoughtfully. Sinking Hill, secret realm of the day after tomorrow. Elite level, recommended entry strength. Level 5 or above spirit level. The secret realm is a place where some powerful beings, in order to train their descendants, deliberately capture some weak and powerful clans, and then specifically raise them in captivity. Of course, there are also some secret realms that are inhabited by thousands of ethnic groups. The secret realm in front of Su Chen is said to have been specially captured by the previous dean of Tianhai College, who placed a group of 10,000 ethnic groups. Whether it is the acquired secret realm or the innate secret realm, the people of Blue Star are classified according to the degree of danger. Mortal level, elite level, master level, epic level, legendary level, apocalyptic level, disaster level. It is said that there are even higher levels, which are not known to Su Chen. In fact, according to Lei Ming's meaning, Su Chen was supposed to enter the secret realm of some first-level spiritual beings and practice his skills to adapt. But Su Chen thinks that although I am still a second-level spirit fighter, with the attributes of the J.20 fighter jet, can I even instantly kill a 7th-level spirit fighter when it comes out? Why do you waste this kung fu and still attack the first-level spirit of the alien race? Glancing at the man standing beside him, Su Chen let out a faint breath of turbid air and then stepped forward. Brother Gu, it seems like you were being competed for by various spiritual cultivation mentors yesterday, right? Yeah, I remember those mentors seemed to be crazy at the time, saying what is innate. It is said that if you want to enter the spiritual cultivation profession, you need to have a high affinity for spiritual power. Brother Gu, what is your affinity for spiritual power? At the next moment, a series of sounds rang out and reached Su Chen's ears. Upon hearing these words, especially the last one, Su Chen was slightly taken aback and then turned his head to look. In Su Chen's gaze, a handsome man with a sword eyebrow star walked towards this place surrounded by 7 or 8 young men and women. The man's posture is as straight as a pine tree, walking like flowing clouds and water, exuding a calm and elegant aura. His slightly upturned lips carry an indescribable charm. Gu Changge, Realm Strength. First Level Spirit, LV1, Physical Fitness. 7 Wisdom. 13 Endurance. 8 Agility. 8, not much, just over 100, it's just praise from various mentors. Listening to everyone's chatter, Gu Changge spoke calmly. A spiritual affinity of over 100. Su Chen's pupils trembled slightly. Every time the affinity for spiritual power exceeds 20, it is a level, over 100. Does that mean at least 5 or even 6 levels of spiritual affinity? Ordinary people usually have a spiritual affinity of around 15. Su Chen is slightly higher, but only in his early 20s, but it's not much better, only enough to barely reach the first level. According to the affinity of spiritual power, there are a total of 10 levels to look at. Gu Changge. Su Chen slightly smashed his tongue. The division of spiritual affinity is Fegba's, SS, SSS, and SSS+. If they meet the F level, they can become spiritual beings. After glancing at Gu Changge's words, the group of men and women shook their heads with exaggerated praise. Immediately after, Su Chen turned around and didn't want to pay attention, so he had to walk towards the teleportation array. The next moment. You're saying that, I'm really serious, but don't. Hey, there's still someone else. Gu Changge scratched his head and responded with a smile to the man beside him. As he spoke, Gu Changge's corner of the eye caught sight of Su Chen walking towards the teleportation array. He was stunned and curiously said something. Looking at this, it seems like I saw the freshmen of Tianhai College yesterday. But aren't all the freshmen at this time level 1 spiritual beings? How can any new student dare to come to the elite level secret realm? Is it also the young master of a certain big family? Do you have various trumps like yourself? Or are there strong people following behind in secret? Startled and uncertain, Gu Changge thought for a moment in his mind, and then walked forward directly. Are you also a new student of this generation? Do you also want to enter the sunken hills? Standing in front of Su Chen, Gu Changge curiously spoke up to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. What's going on? Upon hearing this inquiry, Su Chen raised his eyebrows as he met Gu Changge's gaze. No, no, no. Will you encounter any vulgar plot when you first arrive? Just as Su Chen was secretly vigilant in his heart. No, don't misunderstand. I'm just curious to ask. Gu Changge shook his head. But if you also want to enter the sunken hill, why don't we team up? Is the division of experience spiritual energy based on team mode? Subsequently, Gu Changge spread out his hands and looked at Su Chen. Upon hearing these words, Su Chen was slightly stunned as he looked at the clear gaze in Gu Changge's eyes. Is this kind of noble young master so easy to interact with? Or did Gu Changge misunderstand something? After thinking about it. Forget it, I don't need it. Su Chen shook his head and spoke up to answer. Then he crossed over Gu Changge and walked towards the teleportation array. Is it necessary to give spiritual power to others for nothing, given the powerful attributes of the J.20 fighter jet? And what about the spiritual cultivation major? Even if there are some bottom cards, can the efficiency be as high as the J.20 fighter jet? That's because even 7th level spiritual beings are instantly killed. To Su Chen's surprise, upon hearing this refusal, Gu Changge did not say anything or stop him. But instead, he stood in place scratching his head, looking at the direction Su Chen was leaving with a puzzled expression on his face. As the leader of Tianhai City, the Gu family still needs to form a team to delve into the secret realm. After all, if they exceed a certain level of strength, they cannot enter the junior secret realm. Behind this new student is not a big family that is even more powerful than the Gu family, is it? Chapter 6. What is this summoning beast that I have never heard of before? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Thinking of this, Gu Changge once again looked at Su Chen's back in disbelief. Then he raised his hand, waved his hand, and stopped the men and women next to him who wanted to make a sound. Gu Xiao, this kid is so disrespectful and refuses to team up with you. Aren't you angry? Seeing Gu Changge's appearance, a man with a cut turned his head in confusion. Upon hearing these words, Gu Changge's eyes narrowed for a moment, and the next moment, Gu Changge shook her head. Everyone has their own aspirations, let's go. Facing the gaze of everyone around him, Gu Changge spoke calmly. After speaking, Gu Changge also stepped forward and walked towards the teleportation array. The name Sunken Sand Dune sounds intimidating. But in reality, it's just a huge sand dune. It just looks very big, and from time to time, there are sandstorms raging. However, a typical sandstorm is not a big deal for those who become spiritual beings. Zhang Feng, I remember your physique and endurance were high, and you majored in meat shield. Later, you will be responsible for bringing in the foreign tribes from this secret territory. Lin Shui and Mark, you two should hide behind and always pay attention to treating Zhang Feng. A few other spiritual practitioners, when they see a foreign race emerging, they will prepare a move with me to bombard them. As soon as the group appeared on the sunken sand dune, Gu Changge quickly gave orders. Listening to Gu Changge's words, the inch-headed man next to him nodded and then took out his weapon, a pair of hammers, from the storage ring in his hand. I remember Su Chun's agility was relatively high, right? He also focused on attacking assassins. Why don't we let him explore the path ahead first? The man with an inch head turned his head and looked ahead at the endless yellow sand dunes, speaking with a serious expression on his face. However, the last sentence of the man with an inch head has not yet been left behind. Isn't this the kid from before? Looking at a figure not far ahead, the inch-headed man was stunned, then raised his hand, pointed to his back, and spoke in astonishment. Upon hearing these words, Gu Changge's gaze also turned to him. Is it really him? Looking at Su Chen walking slowly ahead, Gu Changge looked puzzled. Did you really just enter the secret realm alone? And looking at this confident appearance, I glanced around and didn't notice a second figure. Just about to step forward. After some thought, Gu Changge stopped in his tracks again. Forget it, look at his confident appearance, there's no need to shut the door anymore. Gu Changge shook his head. As the eldest son of the Gu family in Tianhai city, Gu Changge is indeed curious about Su Chen. Although there are no instruments, it is not necessarily because one's strength is higher than a certain level, and others cannot understand the specific strength of others. But yesterday I had a chance encounter with Su Chen, and for this new student who is just like me, Gu Changge pondered that Su Chen is currently at most the same as himself, a level 1 spiritual being. The first level spirit person entered the elite level secret realm alone, which confused Gu Changge a lot. Crossing one's own strength and entering dangerous places, those who dare to do so are either heavily reliant behind the scenes or have the courage of skilled individuals. In Gu Changge's impression, he had never seen Su Chen before. By the way, have you seen that person yesterday? After hesitating for a while, Gu Changge looked up at the crowd. Upon hearing these words, the man with an inch head was stunned, staring into the eyes of Gu Changge, and instantly understood the meaning of the words. No, I didn't see him coming to report for the sword cultivation major yesterday. The inch-headed man scratched his head. I didn't see him in the auxiliary major either. I haven't seen him in the talisman profession either, so he shouldn't be in our profession. I didn't hear of any new students entering my assassin major yesterday either. The other few men and women also shook their heads. Upon hearing these words, Gu Changge was stunned for a moment, not even a moment. He is definitely not a spiritual practitioner, at least I didn't see him report yesterday. Isn't it the latter? Just as Gu Changge guessed with a skeptical expression on his face. Su Chen's corner of the eye caught a glimpse of several people behind him. Isn't this teleportation random? It's all teleportation to a fixed location. Su Chen was slightly curious. He thought that the teleportation array was all randomly teleported at the next moment. Su Chen shook his head, dispelling the mixed thoughts in his heart, and walked forward. Roar! As soon as I took a step forward, my right foot stepped into a sand pit. In front of me, a mournful beast roar suddenly sounded. Immediately, in Su Chen's gaze. Ahead, a black figure instantly emerged from the sand pit and rushed towards Su Chen. Earth Sand Leopard, Realm Strength. 4th Level Spirit, LV4, Physical Fitness. 14 Wisdom. 12 Endurance. 12 Agility. 17. Looking at the black sand leopard ahead, which was the size of an adult tiger, Su Chen's gaze was very calm. Be careful. Seeing Su Chen standing motionless, a woman beside Gu Changge couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Just getting ready to step forward. Buzz. Suddenly, accompanied by a surging wave of air, it dissipated. In front of Gu Changge and others, a silver-white fighter jet appeared in front of Su Chen. Next up. Shoo. The fighter jet dived towards the approaching sand leopard. The roar pierced through the sky, carrying a fierce aura like lightning, and instantly approached the sand leopard. Subsequently. Shit. The sound of the cloth being cut suddenly rang out. The next second, in everyone's instantly tightening pupils, the body of the sand leopard was cut in half like a knife cutting tofu. Host kills the earth sand leopard. Spirit points plus 70. The host's spiritual power has reached its limit. The host's realm has increased, host. Su Chen, realm strength. 3rd level spirit, LV3, physical fitness. 18 wisdom. 8 endurance. 8 agility. 12. The spiritual power required to upgrade to LV4 is 50/500 currently available for summoning. J.20 Fighter Jet, Beginner, Proficiency Level 3/5000, is it a fixed 2. Full Attribute Enhancement again? Su Chen looked at the body of the sand leopard slowly falling from mid-air and murmured to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Dong. As the body of the sand leopard fell to the ground, a gust of smoke and dust erupted. What is this? Gu Changge looked at the fighter jet that appeared out of thin air, his face slightly stunned. How can there be a sense of familiarity? It seems like you've seen it somewhere before. Summoning the beast control. Is this kid a beast control professional? The inch-headed man Zhang Feng spoke curiously. Upon hearing these words, the woman who had just made a sound stopped and looked curiously at Zhang Feng. Is there a summoning beast like this? This kind of thing that neither looks like a living creature nor a combination of elements. Has it been described in the Beast Illustrated? The woman blinked her big eyes and looked puzzled. You ask me, who am I asking? And this is a summoning beast that a new student can have. Which beast tamer who has just entered the spirit realm can instantly kill a 4th level spirit realm monster? Zhang Feng shook his head. Upon hearing these words, Gu Changge instinctively nodded. However, Gu Changge looked into Su Chen's pupils, which were already filled with thick shock. He remembered that Gu Changge had indeed seen in ancient books the various high-tech weapons invented by humans thousands of years ago, resembling fighter jets. But with the expansion of force, those outdated products have long been swept away into the garbage heap. Countless cases have proven that the dilapidated copper and iron are vulnerable to attacks from other races, and even inferior to the simple use of spiritual power. How could this product, which had been proven outdated in ancient times, reappear here? And as soon as it appeared, it instantly killed the 4th level spirit one. Chapter 7. Sweeping and Rolling. Boss is here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Gu Changge's heart turned upside down and he looked at Su Chen with a shocked expression. This kid. Gu Changge's heart was filled with confusion. What exactly is he from? I took a deep breath, calmed my shock, and then looked up at the sky. The next moment, a hint of brilliance flashed in Gu Changge's eyes, and then he walked towards Su Chen. Brother, let me introduce myself. My name is. With a smile on his face, he walked up to Su Chen and Gu Changge had just spoken. Next second. Roar. 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 It seems that it was because of the death of the sand leopard, and the strong smell of blood drifted away, with constant animal roars. Subsequently, Gu Changge quickly closed his mouth and stared solemnly. Shoo. 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 Around Su Chen, a sudden surge of soil surged. Immediately after, black sand leopards, white skeleton lions, and gray skeleton wolves slowly emerged from the sand dunes. Skeleton lion strength. 6th level spirit master skeleton wolf strength. 5th level spirit master so many monsters. Looking around at the monsters with at least 10 heads, Gu Changge took a deep breath. Immediately, Gu Changge, who quickly realized, made a gesture and called for several people behind him to come up. At the same time, Gu Changge turned his head and looked cautiously at Su Chen. Brother, although I really want to say a few words to you, it seems like it's not the right time to talk now. There are a total of 14 demon beasts, and I have 8 people on my side. With some scrolls provided by my family, I should be able to share 1 or 2 of them. Why don't we work together to eliminate these demon beasts first? Gu Changge spoke seriously to Su Chen. At the end, Gu Changge reached into his arms and was ready to take out something. The next moment. Don't be so troublesome. Su Chen laughed dumbfounded and then shook his head. It's just 14 heads, 2 or 3 demon beasts of the 6th level spirit master in the sky. Turning his head, he scanned the surrounding monsters slowly surrounding him, and Su Chen spoke calmly. Do you need to be so nervous? Turning his head again, he glanced at the expression on Gu Changge's face, and Su Chen chuckled. Upon hearing this sentence, Gu Changge was just about to speak up and refute something. Next second. Boom. A roar echoed through the sky and earth. In Gu Changge's gaze, behind Su Chen, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted around the fighter jet. Shoo. Immediately after, the wings of the fighter jet pierced through the sky and plunged towards the surrounding monsters. Shoo, shoo, shoo. The sound of the fabric being torn kept ringing. In Gu Changge's horrified gaze, every time the fighter jet swoops down, it takes away the life of a monster. The wings on both sides are like the most indestructible sharp blades. The body of the monster was in front of this wing, unable to hold a single breath, like a knife cutting tofu, and its body was split in half. Host kills the earth sand leopard. Spiritual power plus 40. Host kills skeleton wolf. Spirit power plus 120. Host kills skeleton lion. Spiritual power plus 160. The host's spiritual power has reached its limit. The host's realm has increased. Host. Su Chen, realm strength. 4th level spirit, LV4, physical fitness. 20 wisdom. 10 endurance. 10 agility. 14. The spiritual power required to upgrade to LV5 is 0/800, currently available for summoning. J.20 Fighter, Beginner, Proficiency 17/5000, in just 1 or 2 seconds, about 10 demon beasts were all eliminated by Su Chen. Hiss. The terrifying combat power and the scenes that shattered the worldview made Gu Changge couldn't help but feel shocked and took a breath of cold air. He has never seen a strong person. On the contrary, there is a powerful ancestor in the Gu family of Tianhai city. However, the terrifying combat power that appeared on a new student shocked Gu Changge. Moreover, ancient texts clearly state that this kind of scrap metal, dating back thousands of years, was short-lived during that era. Faced with exotic monsters, steel beasts without spiritual power cannot even break through their defenses, but now, Gu Changge has seen that a fighter jet can easily cut open the body of a monster, even as if it's just chopping vegetables. Brother, you. Gu Changge opened his mouth, only to find that his throat seemed to be blocked by something, unable to say a word. Seeing Gu Changge like this, Su Chen raised his eyebrows. Glancing around the crowd, Su Chen shook his head and let out a smirk. You shouldn't blame me for grabbing monsters, right? Immediately, Su Chen patted Gu Changge's shoulder and jokingly said something. In Gu Changge's body, Su Chen did not see any arrogance from aristocratic young masters. On the contrary, the words Gu Changge said earlier also gave Su Chen a hint of goodwill in his heart. Ah. No, not to the point of. Seeing Su Chen say this, Gu Changge was stunned and quickly shook his head wildly. Looking at Changge's expression, Su Chen smiled and was just about to say something. Roar. A thunderous roar of the beast suddenly sounded. Subsequently. Dong. 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 Amidst the repeated vibrations of the sand dunes, a huge figure slowly walked toward Su Chen. Earth Sand Giant Beast, Elite Level, Realm Strength. 9th Level Spirit Master, Dot. Looking at this giant beast, which is 7 or 8 meters tall and looks like a small mountain, looking at the terrifying earthy yellow scars on the leopard's head. Accompanied by the giant beast, Su Chen was stunned by the oppressive feeling that rushed towards him like a mountain, suppressing his heart. There is a natural distinction between bosses and monsters, and the division of strength is the same as the division of secret realms. But how could such a boss emerge from a sinking sand dune? This kind of body shape, this sense of oppression. That's right, looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com is a boss-level monster. Watching the giant beast slowly approaching, Gu Changge's face turned pale. The earth swaying step by step, and the suffocating feeling that came towards him before he even approached, all told Gu Changge that this was by no means something he could handle at the moment. Boss. How could a boss appear? Zhang Feng trembled with his legs and his body trembled wildly. It's impossible. We just killed a dozen or so monsters, how could it attract a boss? The previous woman trembled her lips and spoke incredulously. Don't say so much, everyone hurry up. Upon hearing the discussion behind him, Gu Changge gritted his teeth and struggled to speak. But in front of the oppressive feeling like a small mountain, Gu Changge felt that it was extremely difficult for him to even move a finger at this moment. And other people, even more unbearable, how could they organize their formation well? Damn it! Gu Changge cursed inwardly. Watching the approaching giant beast, he gritted his teeth and prepared to use a secret technique to forcibly control his body at any cost. The next moment. Pop it. Accompanied by the sound of footsteps, a figure walked out from beside Gu Changge. It's okay, just a boss. Su Chen walked slowly forward and calmly spoke as he watched the giant beast slowly approaching. After speaking, Su Chen glanced at the J.20 fighter jet suspended behind him. Attack power. 43 defense. 45 speed. 47, are fighter jets the same as me? Every time I level up, do fighter jets also gain 2 points in all attributes? Su Chen murmured curiously in a soft voice. Chapter 8. Rebirth from the Fire. Can attributes be stacked? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Gu Changge was slightly stunned when he realized that he was about to call Su Chen. Buzz. Behind Su Chen, the J.20 fighter jet let out a sharp buzzing sound. Afterwards, a golden light burst out instantly from the fighter jet. Next up. Shoo. The sound of air being torn apart sounded. In the surprised gaze of Gu Changge and the others, the J.20 fighter jet swiftly plunged towards the sand giant like a shooting star. Roar. Seeing the approaching fighter jet, the sand giant beast let out a roar. Later, while flying sand and stones under his body, he raised his right hand high, ready to tear up the scrap metal in front of him. The next moment. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening roar, the J.20 fighter jet and the huge sand monster collided in an instant. Boom! Boom! A huge wave of energy swept through like a raging tide. I just came into contact with the terrifying shock wave sweeping over me. Puzzy! Changge spewed out a mouthful of blood, his body like a broken kite, flying backwards for several meters. And others are not doing much better either. Dong! 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 Behind Changge, Zhang Feng and others were immediately thrown back tens of meters away by the terrifying waves. Everyone's body collided fiercely on the ground and then sank into the sand dunes. At the same time. Roar! Accompanied by a furious roar of the beast. The towering sand and dust covered the massive body of the sand giant beast. Accompanied by scattered energy shock waves, they sweep in all directions like a storm. The huge energy fluctuations blew up all the surrounding large sand dunes. Thick sand dunes, like raging waves, are sweeping in all directions. Bang! 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 Everyone could only hear the loud bang after another. After a few minutes, the dust dissipated. As Changge and the others stumbled to their feet. In Changge's suddenly tightening pupils. In front of the line of sight, the sand giant beast was lying on the ground, with its huge body completely collapsed into a large piece. How could this be possible? Changge spoke with an incredulous expression on his face. Not only does it have the strength of a 9th-level spirit, but it is also an elite boss who was severely injured by a J.20 fighter jet with just one strike. Startled, he secretly glanced at Su Chen standing still beside him. How abnormal this guy is. Changge was secretly shocked. At this moment, Su Chen ignored the others. His gaze was fixed on the sand giant lying on the ground ahead. Is there no flash sale with just one hit? This skin is quite thick. Watching the earth and sand giant beast stumbling up, Su Chen raised his eyebrows. Roar! Upon encountering Su Chen's gaze, the sand giant beast opened its bloody mouth and let out a roar. Damn it! When did a piece of ancient scrap metal have such tremendous power? That little doll's strength is clearly far inferior to his own. He looked at Su Chen in disbelief, and then the earth sand giant shook its head, which had limited spiritual intelligence. Roar! Let out another roar. The thunderous roar emanated from the mouth of the sand giant beast, and in an instant, the entire sunken sand dunes suddenly shook. Accompanied by waves of sand and dust, as well as countless huge mounds of sand rising from the horizon. Will I give you a chance? Looking straight ahead at the sand giant beast, Su Chen smiled. The next moment. With Su Chen's gaze fixed on the J.20 fighter jet suspended in mid-air next to him. Buzz. Accompanied by a buzzing sound, the surrounding air instantly became hot. The wings on both sides of the J.20 fighter jet contract back and are replaced by a huge muzzle extending out. Zizz. 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 As the golden light condensed above the muzzle, it continued to compress and then compress. Next second. A golden laser condensed instantly from the fighter jet. Boo! At a sharp speed, the air seemed to be pierced in an instant. It only takes one breath before and after. Before the sand giant beast could react, its open and bloody mouth had not yet closed. Bang! The golden laser instantly hit the sand giant beast. Roar! Touching this golden laser, the sand giant beast let out a terrifying roar. Immediately, terrifying energy waves enveloped the entire body of the sand giant beast. Bang! 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 A series of loud explosions followed closely behind. Under the horrified gaze of everyone, terrifying energy fluctuations swept through. And the body of the sand giant beast kept exploding, blood kept flowing out, and its vitality was destroyed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few seconds. Roar. With a mournful roar from the sand giant beast, his entire body fell heavily to the ground. Host kills the earth sand giant beast. Spiritual power plus 400. The first time the host kills an elite boss. The spiritual power gained doubles. Host. Su Chen, Realm Strength. 5th level Spirit, LV5, Physical Fitness. 22 Wisdom. 12 Endurance. 12 Agility. 16. The spiritual power required to upgrade to LV6 is 0 out of 1200. Looking ahead, watching the earth sand giant lying on the ground, its body constantly turning into smoke. This Changge is a bit dull. Did the terrifying sand giant beast that was before disappear like this? The elite level 9th level spirit master is naturally nothing to his father, grandfather, and even ancestors, but Su Chen, like him, is a new student. Moreover, Su Chen is still a professional in the field of veterinary medicine. The agreed-upon veterinary medicine profession has been abandoned. However, what exactly is that strange summoning beast? Do high-tech products from thousands of years ago have such powerful power? Glancing in disbelief at the returning J.20 fighter jet. It seems that the boss has been resolved. Thank you very much. With lingering palpitations, Changge touched his arms and stood up unsteadily, looking at Su Chen. At the end, Changge's gaze flickered as she was about to speak. Zhaozhuyuan.com. Su Chen waved his hand in response. Then Su Chen walked alone towards the place where the earth sand giant beast fell. So cold. Seeing that Su Chen didn't pay much attention to himself, Changge was about to laugh at himself. Halfway through the conversation, Changge saw Su Chen walking forward to the spot where the earth sand giant beast had fallen. He crouched down and picked up a small building block. Incomplete module. Rebirth from the fire. 3 incomplete modules are combined to form a complete module. After completion, the J.20 fighter jet will add additional skills, Rebirth from the fire, J.20. After the J.20 fighter is destroyed, its attributes, attack power, defense power, speed, will all be stacked on the host. What is this? Su Chen looked at the incomplete translucent building block in his hand, a bit stunned. What the hell? Do you still have this one? If all the current attributes of the J.20 fighter were to be stacked on oneself, isn't it possible to instantly kill the spiritual master now? Most importantly, Su Chen remembers that after upgrading, the full attributes of the J.20 fighter jet will also increase by 2 points, and then this is just a basic J.20 fighter jet. There are also intermediate and advanced ones on top in that case. If we stack them up in the future. Su Chen's gaze was somewhat strange. He inexplicably thought that in the future, he would reach Lingzuan and the J.20 fighter jet would be destroyed by the enemy with all their might. Just when the enemy thought that the Beast Master was a target without beasts, and that Su Chen could only wait for death, they laughed wildly. Su Chen's strength suddenly crossed several major levels, and then he crushed the opponent with one hand. Chapter 9. Changge's Pleasure, Ancient Relics. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 10. Just a new student, what kind of strength can you have? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Glancing at the necklace, Su Chen curled his lips. This attribute, just like the division of secret realms, the division of portable equipment, is also unified. Mortal level, elite level, master level, epic level, legendary level, apocalyptic level, and disaster level. An elite level necklace is given as a gift, and it perfectly matches the current level of Su Chen, which Changge believes to be a level 1 spirit. It can only be said that Changge also has a heart. After casually saying a few words, Su Chen took the necklace handed over by Gu Changge and was about to put it on. The next moment, in Su Chen's gaze, the necklace instantly became hollow out. Below the necklace, inside the crystal pendant, lies a semi-transparent building block. Incomplete module. Disguise, incomplete. 3 incomplete modules are combined to form a complete module. After completion, the J.20 fighter jet will add additional skills that can hide its own body. Creatures with no higher than a certain strength will not be able to detect, can be upgraded, glancing at the incomplete module in hand. A hint of brilliance flashed through Su Chen's pupils, and he calmly placed the necklace into the storage ring. Indeed, it's a bit helpful, but Brother Gu, what was the ancient relic you just mentioned? Su Chen looked at Gu Changge and spoke calmly. This. Upon hearing Su Chen's inquiry, Gu Changge, who was still smiling, became embarrassed. He actually knows it's an ancient relic, but he hasn't asked specifically about what it is hesitated for a while. Wait a moment, I'll go and come. Gu Changge sat up awkwardly from the sofa, looked at Su Chen, and scratched his head. In Su Chen's gaze, Gu Changge and the servant beside him chatted for a few minutes. Thousands of years ago, the places where some of our human powerhouses and ethnic powerhouses clashed slowly became dusty over time. Although after thousands of years of development, we have greatly improved the application and theory of spiritual power, as well as combat skills, some of the equipment excavated from ancient relics still have significant effects. So sometimes, exploring ancient ruins may bring unexpected rewards. What, are you interested? Gu Changge turned around and looked at Su Chen, raising her eyebrows. Upon hearing this, Su Chen pondered for a moment. Equipment and the like are secondary, and Su Chen has not seen too many equipment so far, so he is not very concerned. But Su Chen became interested in incomplete modules and the like. And what Su Chen was even more curious about was why there were missing modules in ancient relics. Is it difficult for incomplete modules to appear through more than just self-explosion? But ancient ruins. The place where the strong fell thousands of years ago, if you have any interest, take me with you if you have the opportunity in the future. After a while, Su Chen nodded slightly. Upon hearing Su Chen's words, Gu Changge was stunned for a moment, and then a hint of joy flashed through his eyes, visible to the naked eye. What other way to hug your thighs is to be compared to someone who is interested in what you have and willing to fight alongside you. The next moment. It's easy to say. I will pay attention to the rumors of ancient ruins appearing in the future. Gu Changge nodded repeatedly and promised with a confident expression. While Su Chen and Gu Changge were chatting, undercurrents are constantly surging in every corner of Tianhai city. Gu Changge recognized a so-called brother. In a large manner, a middle-aged man with a national face and a confident demeanor slowly put down his communicator. Subsequently, the middle-aged man looked up with a serious expression towards the direction of the Gu family estate. What is the origin of that young man who can be treated like this by the eldest son of the Gu family? In another estate, an elderly man with a hunched body slowly spoke up. Regarding the scene where Gu Changge publicly expressed his message to Su Chen at the platform just now, everyone in Tianhai city was discussing it one after another. Some are uncertain, some want to investigate, but are afraid that the Gu family is watching from the side. A small number of people who are not afraid of taking care of their families have conducted an investigation. New students. Impossible, right? What strength can a new student have? Astonishment spread from several estates. As for Su Chen's actions in the sinking sand dunes, due to Gu Changge's advice, the rest of the companions dared not speak out. After investigating the several major families, it was found that the information on Su Qiming's face was only a new student who had just walked out of the edge town a few days ago and entered Tianhai College yesterday. This makes many people unable to sit still. Is it worth treating the eldest son of the Gu family so politely as a newly enrolled student? What's the point? Is there any background that connects to the sky? In a secluded estate, an elderly man with grey beard murmured softly. Amidst countless undercurrents surging, countless people have different thoughts. It seems like it's still early. Continue to level up. Su Chen, who had been talking to Gu Changge for over an hour, walked out of the entrance of the Gu family estate. Looking up at the sun still hanging high in the sky, I hesitated a bit. After some thought, Su Chen was about to choose a place to walk. Wait, I remember Gu Changge said that this necklace was unearthed from the 071 ancient relic, but it wasn't just one necklace that appeared, there were also many items and equipment that others took away. And most of these people are also members of the mercenary group in Tianhai city. How about I go try my luck? At the next moment, Su Chen's footsteps stopped, his gaze turned to the other side, and he spoke thoughtfully. Nowadays, there are already 2 disguises for the incomplete module. If luck happens to find the 3rd module, does it mean that the J.20 fighter can? Thinking of this, Su Chen's gaze became fiery. The camouflage module is still secondary, but the rebirth module from the ashes is really amazing according to Su Chen's estimation. If he reaches the Spirit Master, the various attributes of the J.20 fighter jet are comparable to those of the 7th level Spirit Master. Once the fighter jet is destroyed, even if it's a Spirit General, I'm not creepy after more than half an hour. Su Chen glanced at the golden sign next to him that read, "Trading in the Black Market," pursed his lips, and then took a step into the alley. The alleys are deep and winding, like a multi-legged spider formed by a ghost, squeezed into this steel and concrete city. On both sides of the alley, there are stalls with various strange styles of equipment and quaint books placed on them. On the middle road, men and women dressed in strange clothes were walking, stopping occasionally to pick up equipment from the nearby stall, asking or bargaining, "Is there a black market for trading?" As Su Chen walked, he looked around. There is a black market for trading, and there are also legitimate exchanges available at www.zhaozuiyuan.com. As the name suggests, the trading black market is usually a place where mercenary groups handle goods. After all, formal exchanges require transaction fees, and the source of goods must be detailed, and the transactions must also be registered. For Su Chen, this is a bit unfriendly. Everyone has the same goal in mind, and since it is assumed that this is where mercenary groups handle things, no one will directly grab them, right? Looking at the conflicting scene around him, Su Chen's gaze was a bit strange. However, it's also true that everyone belongs to the mercenary group. If you snatched mine today, then it's not too much for me to snatch yours tomorrow, is it? If this continues, everyone should stop playing walking. Oh, new here. You look very familiar. At this age, from Tianhai College, right? Is it your first time trading on the black market? The men behind several stalls next to him looked at Su Chen and smiled as they spoke. When they said these words, their faces were very kind, but Su Chen was very keen to notice that when these people looked at him, there was a hint of greed in their eyes. Do you want to slaughter me like a fat sheep? Su Chen pondered for a moment, then nodded in response. Young man, what do you need for your first time here? Seeing Su Chen nod, a man looked at him and smiled as he spoke. I have various equipment, elixirs, secrets. To ensure that children and elderly are not deceived, and you will definitely get the best value for money. The man's face was very sincere. Upon hearing this, Su Chen pursed his lips slightly. My eyes swept around the booth. Are these all unidentified? Su Chen lifted his head and looked at the man.